Well, it looks like the products that Disney was supposed to put in place to keep them from going into the abyss, in this case, The Way of the Water, as in their latest film, Avatar, Way of Water, is not doing well, at least at the outset, along with other films that it's come out with, is tanking because of a woke agenda. And now the stock prices are in the toilet big time. I'm going to show you those numbers. I'm going to show you what Avatar needs to make to even make a profit at this point. And also, just why is this happening and why is Bob Iger not the solution? My name is Kyle. Welcome to the channel. And let's get into this. John Nolte says Disney stock tanks after Avatar 2 underperforms. And so if you don't understand what this is a film that is a sequel to a movie that came out in 2009, a film that I dare say people don't even really want to see. Avatar 1 came out again in 2009. It did phenomenal records. This is a long time ago where people went to the movie theaters and actually cared what Disney had to say. Not so much anymore. The world is a lot different place than it was that long ago. Avatar 2 is underperforming. Strange World, which is a film we talked about in another video, I'll talk about that in a second here, is an outright flop, big time. And Disney's stock price is sinking like a rock. I'll show you that as well. Disney shares sank nearly 5% to the lowest level since March 2020 on Monday after Avatar Way of the Water, and one of the priciest movies in Hollywood history, fell short of the hype in its opening weekend, reported by MarketWatch.
That's unfortunate.
Here you have that particular article right here, MarketWatch. Disney stock on its way to worst year since 1974 after Avatar sequel disappoints. Shares declined 5% to its lowest level since March of 2020, and it goes on and on and on. Disney shares are plus 1.45, sank nearly 5% to the lowest level since March. And if you want to look at the actual stock price of Disney, I have it right here. This is from the outset. This is from 1985 on to 2004, pretty steady. And then we see it go up in the 2015 era, April 1, and then skyrocketed up in April of 2021 at its highest price of 184. And now look where it is now, only a few months later. It sunk like a rock and is still going down. That is a incredible drop, and the numbers don't lie there. And so Bob Iger, who was the CEO of Disney a while back, during the woke agenda prior to the whole coof epidemic here in this country, they fired him and then brought him back to hopefully be their savior, but he's not going to be their savior. Here's an interesting point here. It says here that Breitbart here says that outside of targeting children with sex, Disney did the dumbest thing any brand can do, and it's undermine its own brand as a safe place for little kids. Disney is no longer a company any decent person will leave their child alone with. And so let's think about that for a second here. Disney is the company that was founded by a guy named Walt Disney, a guy who built an empire on the premise of having family-friendly entertainment. Conservative in the notion that we're in a Christian nation mostly, and that we want family values based on Judeo-Christian values and just common sense. But now with Disney under new leadership and going off on the woke agenda, seems to think that it's their place now to take everything that Walt Disney that is, had and put it right on his head and slap it right back in parents' face as if to say, we don't care about you. We're going to do what we want to do anyway, despite what your value system may be. What's more, Disney's stock is now lower than when Bob Iger, I just mentioned, was when he hired him as CEO in November 23, from $97 a share to just 85.78 cents a share. That's because media lies do not fool smart money. Iger is not Disney's savior. It was Iger who did the unthinkable, as you can read right there. I'm not going to read it here for the sake of monetization on YouTube, but you get the picture. On Monday, Avatar 2 grossed $16 million domestically per the far left site Deadline. I have that right here. 16 plus million domestic box office at $150 million in updates. And again, MarketWatch here says that Avatar sequel disappoints. Now, these sites here are far left leaning sites, so they're going to give you an accurate assessment because they're going to try and shill as best they can. But again, they can't hide the true merits of this. Let's go back to this particular article again one more time here, because let's compare it to, let's say, Top Gun Maverick, which made $34 million on its first Monday. Spider-Man No Way Home, which was, most people consider that one of the better Spider-Man films, it wasn't a woke film, made $37 million on its first Monday. But those were on holiday weekends and they were different, and so that's quite the same thing. But on the Monday of 2009, the original Avatar cleared $16.3 million and it went on to break all kinds of records. Avatar, the original, I believe still holds the overall record for highest grossing film of all time. It passed Titanic and other things as well. It was a blockbuster. And James Cameron, who we have seen here in the past here, has made some serious incendiary comments towards conservatives, and just his whole mindset is a far left Marxist agenda and what he thinks. And so that to me has a lot to say about this too, because people don't really want to support directors and people who think like James Cameron and Kathleen Kennedy of Star Wars, who essentially was put in place by Bob Iger to run the Star Wars franchise and now has turned it into a dumpster fire and has made it into a franchise that nobody wants to watch. It's taken Star Wars from a multi-billion-dollar enterprise into the last two movies nearly losing money. In fact, Han Solo movie lost money, and it's just unthinkable what Disney could do to a franchise like Star Wars so quickly. And now we're seeing what's happening in the overall shares. The parks overall are down. The stock price overall is down. It's just horrendous because Disney has pretty much smacked the faces of the people that built their company. And now I'm not sure if there's any way to repair those damages. Let's take a quick look at the box office here. I have The Way of the Water here at line 12 here. Right now it is budgeted at $460 million. And if you're familiar with the spreadsheet that I've done here before, it needs to have a box office that's double of its budget to actually break even. And right now it's still very early. It's about $400 million in the hole. Again, it's got plenty of time to make that up, but essentially to break even, it's going to have to make essentially $1 billion just to break even. So that's pretty astonishing to say the least. We mentioned the movie Strange World, and we actually talked about this in a former video. You can go take a look at that. I'll leave a link below. That particular film is doing horribly. It was budgeted at $157 million, and now after a few weeks, it's only grossed $61 million total. That's domestic and international. Same for Avatar. To begin with, parents no longer trust Disney to be alone with their children. What was once a company that focused on protecting and preserving the innocence of children is now a predatory company looking to sexualize children. And that's just one reason Disney's stock is in the toilet. Another reason is how the woke and social justice cancers have destroyed Disney's art, specifically its most important product, its film franchises. Toy Story and Star Wars are crippled as film franchises. Remember the movie Lightyear that actually lost money? We did a movie review on that. A Pixar film losing money. Again, we mentioned the Star Wars film Solo missed the mark there by losing money. Incredible. The early buzz about Indiana Jones 5 is brutal. Marvel is a shell of its former self. Pirates of the Caribbean looks to be toast. Why? Because Disney gleefully joined in the #MeToo witch hunts that made Johnny Depp walk plank without due process. And it goes on and on and on. There's a saying, get woke, go broke, and that's exactly what's happening with Disney. Iger also elevated Kathleen Kennedy to oversee Lucasfilm, and Kennedy is the brittle feminist woke-tard who essentially destroyed Star Wars. So what are your thoughts on all of this? What do you think about Disney's film Avatar 2, The Way of Water, not performing initially the way they expect, especially in a market when people don't go to the theaters like they used to? This could be a big trouble for them. Or a film like Strange World, which is drastically losing money, and the various franchises that Disney has put together, like Star Wars and Pixar and Pirates of the Caribbean, all of those are looking horrible right now, with no way for Disney to turn because they're locked into this whole woke mentality that they really can't get out of. It's a creature of their own making. Let me know in the comments below. I'd be curious to know what you think. And if you want to see more information about this, we have a video right here where we talk about a Pixar film actually losing money.